Today is the 9th of August, and we've just come to the 26th chapter of the Samyutta Nikaya. So the first sutta I read is 26.1. This chapter 26 is called Uppada Samyutta. Uppada is arising of the elements. So 26.1 at Savatthi, the Buddha said, monks, the arising, continuation, production and manifestation of the I is the arising of suffering, the continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. Similarly, the arising, continuation, production and manifestation of the ear, nose, tongue, body and mind is the arising of suffering, the continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. The cessation, subsiding and passing away of the I is the cessation of suffering, the subsiding of disease, the passing away of aging and death. Similarly, the cessation, subsiding and passing away of the ear, nose, tongue, body and mind is the cessation of suffering, the subsiding of disease, passing away of aging and death. It's the end of the sutta. So, in the Buddha's Dhamma, the five aggregates and the six senses, suffering. So when they arise to our suffering and the continuation of disease, aging and death, etc. So the Buddha says that in these aggregates and the six senses, there is no self, no thing that is permanent, that you can identify to be the self, unchanging. So, Buddha says when a person is born, it's just suffering that is born and continues, and when a person dies, it's just suffering that passes away. So the other suttas are also a bit similar. The second sutta is the rising of forms, sounds, odors, tastes, touch and thoughts. And the third sutta is the arising of the six consciousness. Then the fourth sutta is the arising of contact, the six types of contact, eye contact, ear contact, nose contact, etc. And then the fifth sutta is about the rising of feeling. Feelings born of eye contact, ear contact, nose contact, etc. And the sixth sutta is the arising of perception. I read the 8th sutta, 26.8 at Savatthi. Monks, the arising, continuation, production and manifestation of craving for forms, craving for sounds, craving for smells, taste, touch and thoughts, is the arising of suffering, the continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. The cessation, subsiding and passing away of craving for forms, craving for sounds, smells, taste, touch and thoughts is the cessation of suffering, the subsiding of disease, the passing away of aging and death. So the sutta says that when craving arises, it means suffering arises. But when craving ceases, then suffering ceases. 26.10 at Savatthi, monks, the arising, continuation, production and manifestation of body is the arising of suffering, the continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. Similarly, the arising, continuation, production and manifestation of feeling, of perception, volition, consciousness is the arising of suffering, the continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. But the cessation, subsiding and passing away of body is the cessation of suffering, the subsiding of disease, the passing away of aging and death. Similarly, the cessation, subsiding and passing away of feeling, perception, volition and consciousness is the cessation of suffering, the subsiding of disease, the passing away of aging and death. So this sutta is all about this arising of the five aggregates, of the six senses and the contact and all that. Now we come to the next chapter, chapter 27. Kilesa Sangyutta. Kilesa means defilements. Defilements refer to the defilements in the mind. 27.2 at Savatthi, the Buddha said, monks, desire and lust for body is a corruption of the mind. Desire and lust for sounds, for odors, for taste, for touch, for thoughts is a corruption of the mind. When a monk has abandoned the mental corruption in these 6 cases, his mind inclines to renunciation. The mind fortified by renunciation becomes wieldy in regard to those things that are to be realized by direct knowledge. Wieldy means easily used or controlled or handled. So the mind fortified by renunciation becomes easily controlled in regard to those things that are to be realized by direct knowledge. That means you can easily attain direct knowledge. So desire and lust for the sense objects are a corruption of the mind. But when we abandon this desire and lust for the 6 sense objects, then the mind is suitable to be used to realize direct knowledge. And the others are also quite similar. Desire and lust for the 6 sense bases, desire and lust for the 6 types of consciousness, for the contact, for feeling, perception, volition, craving. And the next sutta I'll read as the last one here, 27.10. Monks, the desire and lust for body, for feeling, for perception, for volition, for consciousness is a corruption of the mind. And the monk has abandoned the mental corruption in these 5 cases. His mind inclines to renunciation. The mind fortified by renunciation becomes wieldy in regard to those things that are to be realized by direct knowledge. So here, if a person has desire and lust for the 5 aggregates, and that is a corruption of the mind. But when he abandons the desire and lust for the 5 aggregates, then the mind inclines to renunciation and becomes very suitable to realize direct knowledge. Now we come to chapter 28, Sariputta Sangyutta, discourses concerning the Venerable Sariputta. 28.1. On one occasion, the Venerable Sariputta was dwelling at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. Then in the morning, the Venerable Sariputta dressed and taking bowl and robe, entered Savatthi for alms. Then when he had walked for alms in Savatthi and had returned from the alms round, after his meal, he went to the blind man's grove for the day's abiding. Having plunged into the blind man's grove, he sat down at the foot of a tree for the day's abiding. Then in the evening, the Venerable Sariputta emerged from seclusion and went to Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. The Venerable Ananda saw the Venerable Sariputta coming in the distance and said to him, Friend Sariputta, your faculties are serene, your facial complexion is pure and bright. In what dwelling has the Venerable Sariputta spent the day? And Venerable Sariputta replied, Here, friend, secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, I entered and dwelt in the first jhana, which is accompanied by thought, directed and sustained, with delight and happiness born of seclusion. Yet, friend, it did not occur to me, I am attaining the first jhana, or I have attained the first jhana, or I have emerged from the first jhana. And Venerable Ananda said, it must be because I-making, mind-making, and the underlying tendency to conceit have been thoroughly uprooted in the Venerable Sariputta for a long time, that such thoughts did not occur to him. That's the end of the sutta. So here, Sariputta, like a lot of arahants, they spend the day meditating, abiding in the jhana. So for him in this sutta, he says that the whole day, most of the day, he was abiding in the first jhana. But because he's arahant with no self, he does not think, I am attaining the first jhana or abiding in the first jhana or have emerged from the first jhana. He has no self. So Ananda praised him that for a long time he has cut the conceit, the I am. That's why he can be like that. So the other suttas are similar to this. Is that Sariputta spends the day in the different types of jhana. In the second sutta, he spent the whole day in the second jhana. In the third sutta, he spent the day in the third jhana. In the fourth sutta, he spent the day in the fourth jhana, fourth rupa jhana. The fifth sutta, Venerable Sariputta spent the day in the base of infinity of space, boundless space, which is the first arupa jhana. Then the sixth sutta, he spent the day in the second arupa jhana. The seventh sutta, he spent the day in the third arupa jhana, the base of nothingness. In the eighth sutta, he spent the day in the fourth arupa jhana, the base of neither perception nor non-perception. In the ninth sutta, he spent the day in the cessation. I'll read this ninth sutta, similar as before. And Venerable Sariputta replied to Venerable Ananda, "Here, friend, by completely transcending the base of neither perception nor non-perception, I entered and dwelt in the cessation of perception and feeling. Yet, friend, it did not occur to me, I am attaining the cessation of perception and feeling, or I have attained the cessation of perception and feeling, or I have emerged from the cessation of perception and feeling." And Venerable Ananda similarly praised him. It must be because I-making, mind-making, and the underlying tendency to conceit have been thoroughly uprooted in the Venerable Sariputta for a long time that such thoughts did not occur to him. That's the end of the sutta. So you see, all these suttas up to this number 9, you find Venerable Sariputta abiding in all the different types of jhana, including the highest, the state of cessation of the cessation is the cessation of perception and feeling, which also means cessation of consciousness. Now, the later books, they say that the Venerable Sariputta was liberated by wisdom, and the understanding of liberation by wisdom is that the monk did not attain any jhana. But you can see from here that even though Venerable Sariputta attained liberation by wisdom, yet he has all the jhanas. Only thing is, even though he has all the jhanas, he does not have psychic power, unlike some of the other monks. 28.10. On one occasion, the Venerable Sariputta was dwelling at Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. Then in the morning, the Venerable Sariputta dressed and taking bowl and robe entered Rajagaha for alms. Then when he had walked for alms on continuous alms round in Rajagaha, he ate the alms food leaning against a certain wall. Stop here for a moment. You see, this is mentioned here, he walked for alms on continuous alms round. Continuous alms round means he goes from house to house. He does not select houses. Or there's a rich guy where they go to his house and get good food. He doesn't think like that. It doesn't matter whether the house is rich or poor. He goes house to house. But later books, like Mahayana books, they say that a monk is only supposed to beg from maximum of 7 homes. This is mentioned in the Theravada books as an external ascetic practice. It is not a Buddhist practice. It is practiced by external ascetics. In the Buddha's Vinaya, a monk can go to any number of houses until he gets enough food for his meal. So Venerable Sariputta was eating his food by the side of a wall. Then the female wanderer, Suchi Mukhi, approached the Venerable Sariputta and said to him, "Ascetic, do you eat facing downwards?" And he said, "I don't eat facing downwards, sister." Then, "Ascetic, do you eat facing upwards?" And he said, "I don't eat facing upwards, sister." Then, "Ascetic, do you eat facing the four quarters?" "I don't eat facing the four quarters, sister." Then, "Ascetic, do you eat facing the intermediate directions?" "I don't eat facing the intermediate directions, sister." And the female wanderer asked him, when you are asked, "Ascetic, do you eat facing downwards? Do you eat facing upwards, etc.?" You reply, "I don't eat thus, sister." "Then how do you eat, ascetic?" The Venerable Sariputta replied, "Sister, those ascetics and Brahmins who earn their living by the debased art of geomancy," that means feng shui, a wrong means of livelihood, these are called ascetics and Brahmins who eat facing downwards. Those ascetics and Brahmins who earn their living by the debased art of astrology, wrong means of livelihood, those are called ascetics and Brahmins who eat facing upwards. Those ascetics and Brahmins who earn their living by undertaking to go on errands and run messages, a wrong means of livelihood, these are called ascetics and Brahmins who eat facing the four quarters. Those ascetics and Brahmins who earn their living by the debased art of palmistry, fortune telling, a wrong means of livelihood, these are called ascetics and Brahmins who eat facing the intermediate directions. Sister, I do not earn my living by such wrong means of livelihood as the debased art of geomancy, or the debased art of astrology, or by undertaking to go on errands and run messages, or by the debased art of palmistry. I seek alms food righteously, and having sought it, I eat my alms food righteously. Then the female wanderer, Suchi Mukhi, went from street to street and from square to square in Rajagaha, announcing, "The ascetics following the Sakyan sun eat righteous food, they eat blameless food. Give alms food to the ascetics following the Sakyan sun." That's the end of the sutta. Sakyan sun here is Sakyaputta. That means they're referring to the Buddha. So here you can see that in the original Buddha's teachings, all these are wrong means of livelihood. That means practicing geomancy, feng shui, hong shui, or practicing astrology, or running errands for lay people, or fortune telling. All these are wrong means of livelihood. A monk practices right livelihood when he practices the Noble Eightfold Path according to the Buddha's teachings, and not eating food in these wrong ways. But unfortunately nowadays some monks do some of these things. So the female wanderer was so impressed by Venerable Sariputta. He went around asking lay people to give food to the Buddha's disciples. Now we come to chapter 29, Naga Sangyutta. This word Naga, during the Buddha's time, had two meanings. One is like here, it refers to the snake spirits, the devas or devis who have the snake body. And there's another meaning of Naga, is that like a great being like a big, huge elephant, or a huge snake spirit, or a great hero. That's the other meaning of Naga. But here, this chapter is referring to the snake spirits. The snake spirits belong to the lowest heaven, that is under the four great heavenly kings. 29.2. At Savatthi, the Buddha said, "Monks, there are these four modes of generation," that means four modes of birth of Nagas. What for? Nagas born from eggs, Nagas born from the womb, Nagas born from moisture, and Nagas of spontaneous birth. These are the four modes of birth of Nagas. And therein monks, Nagas born from the womb, from moisture, and born spontaneously, are superior to Nagas born from eggs. Nagas born from moisture and born spontaneously are superior to Nagas born from eggs and from the womb. Nagas born spontaneously are superior to Nagas born from eggs, from the womb and from moisture. These monks are the four modes of birth of Nagas. Stop here for a moment. So the Buddha says, these Nagas, they are born from four different ways. The lowest is the egg-born. Egg-born is the lowest. That means like those snakes that we see around our earth. Most of them are egg-born. But higher than that is the womb-born. That means instead of giving birth to the egg, the egg-born is also sometimes called doubly born, born twice. Because they are first born into the egg, and after that they come out of the egg. It's a second birth, so they are born twice. But I think in our earth here also we have womb born, isn't it? There are some snakes, they don't give birth to the egg, but straight away the babies come out. That is a womb born, supposed to be higher. And then higher than that is Nagas born from moisture that we don't see in our earth. Those may be spiritual beings that we can't see with our eye. And then the highest is spontaneously born. That means they suddenly appear. It's like some devas and devis in heaven. They suddenly appear out of nowhere. They spontaneously appear. Now this is interesting because from here you can see probably that the Nagas born of moisture and spontaneously born, they take birth in the heavens. In the heavens. So that's why you see there is in the Bible, I remember it's a Gospel according to Saint John. Jesus Christ was approached one night by a priest and was asked, why is it true or you say that beings have to be reborn? And Jesus Christ said yes. And he asked 3 times and Jesus Christ said yes. And Jesus Christ said, unless a man be born of water and of spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. So now the interpretation, born of water means baptized, born of spirit means like you take when you go for Mass, Holy Communion, you take the wine as the spirit. But if you go according to the Buddha's words, what Jesus meant is that to be born in heaven, only these 2 types of birth, moisture born and spontaneously born is born of the spirit. And the next sutta is 29.3. At Savatthi. A certain monk approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side and said to him, Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why some egg-born Nagas here observe the Uposatha and relinquish concern for their bodies? And the Buddha said, Hear monks, some egg-born Nagas think thus. In the past we acted ambivalently in body, speech and mind. Having done so, with the breakup of the body after death, we were reborn in the company of egg-born Nagas. If today we practice good conduct in body, speech and mind, then with the breakup of the body after death, we shall be reborn in a happy destination, in a heavenly world. Come now, let us practice good conduct of body, speech and mind. This, monks, is the reason, the cause why some egg-born Nagas here observe the Uposatha and relinquish concern for their bodies. So it looks from here that there are some heavenly Nagas, they are also egg-born. So since they possess a snake body, because they are psychic, they can see other beings higher than them with a beautiful heavenly bodies like human beings, whereas they have to be like a snake, so they are ashamed of their bodies. And they realize, here it says, in the past we acted ambivalently. That means we did good deeds as well as evil deeds. Because of having done both good and evil, because of the good karma, they are born in the heavenly birth. But because of their good karma was not so strong, so they became a very low heavenly being with a snake body. So because of that, they decided that they will keep the 8 precepts on the Uposatha days, and then hope to have a better rebirth. And then the following suttas, number 4 to number 6, is the same as this one, except that instead of egg-born Naga, you also have the womb-born, moisture-born, and born spontaneously type. 29.11, 11 to 20. The monk asked the Buddha, "Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born Nagas?" And the Buddha says, "Here, monk, someone acts ambivalently in body, speech, and mind. He has heard egg-born Nagas are long-lived, beautiful, and abound in happiness. He thinks, oh, with the breakup of the body after death, may I be reborn in the company of egg-born Nagas. So he gives food, he gives drink, he gives clothing, he gives vehicles, he gives garlands, he gives fragrance, he gives unguents, he gives bed, he gives dwelling, he gives lamps. Then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of egg-born Nagas. This monk is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born Nagas." So the Buddha says that people are born as Nagas, firstly because they have good and bad karma, and good karma is more than bad karma, so that they have this heavenly rebirth, this low heavenly rebirth. And their good karma is from doing dana. They did a lot of dana, hoping to be reborn as a Naga. Some people, especially Chinese, we say Naga long. Ling is something very great. But in the range of heavens, they are very low. So the following other suttas also are similar, except that instead of the egg-born, refer to the womb-born and the moisture and born spontaneously Nagas. Now we come to the next chapter, 30, Supana Sangyutta, discourses about Supanas. Supanas are these bird spirits. Another name for them is Garuda. Garuda in Chinese we call Ta Peng Jin Zhi Niao, I think. And they are supposed to be very huge heavenly birds, and they are enemies of these Nagas because they attack and eat these Nagas. And these Nagas, we heard earlier some other sutta about the Brahma, chapter on the Brahmas. The Buddha was talking to one Brahma, and the Buddha said in the previous life he used his psychic power to save some human beings in the ship. Some human beings were in the ship and some Naga wanted to eat them. So he caused a storm to arise, tried to make them drown. So you see some Nagas, they feed on humans, and these Garudas feed on them. 30.2 at Savatthi. The Buddha said, monks, there are these 4 modes of birth of Supanas or Garudas. What 4? Supanas born from eggs, Supanas born from the womb, born from moisture, Supanas of spontaneous birth. These are the 4 modes of birth of Supanas. Therein, monks, egg-born Supanas carry off only Nagas that are egg-born, not those that are womb-born, moisture-born, or spontaneously born. Womb-born Supanas carry off Nagas that are egg-born and womb-born, but not those that are moisture-born or spontaneously born. Moisture-born Supanas carry off Nagas that are egg-born, womb-born, and moisture-born, but not those that are spontaneously born. Spontaneously born Supanas carry off Nagas that are egg-born, womb-born, moisture-born, and spontaneously born. These monks are the 4 modes of birth of Supanas. So you see from here, you can know that these Supanas or Garudas, they eat these Nagas, they carry off these Nagas. So because these 4 types of rebirth, they have a system. The egg-born being the lowest, and then followed by higher is the womb-born, and higher is the moisture-born, and the best is the spontaneously born. So those Supanas that are egg-born can only attack and carry off those Nagas that are egg-born, whereas the womb-born can carry off both the egg-born and the womb-born, and then the moisture-born can carry off 3 types, and the spontaneously born Supanas can carry off, attack and carry off all 4 types of Nagas. 30.3 Savatthi, monk asked the Buddha, Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas? And the Buddha said, Here monk, someone acts ambivalently in body, speech and mind. He has heard, egg-born Supanas are long-lived, beautiful and abound in happiness. He thinks, oh, with the breakup of the body after death, may I be reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas. Then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas. This monk is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas. That's the end of the sutta. So this one is similar to the Nagas. A person, he has good and bad karma, and he's always thinking of these Garudas, hoping to be reborn as these egg-born Garudas. So that's why it's reborn then. So what we think is a bit dangerous. Sometimes we like something, we keep thinking about something, then we create the affinity. So similarly, for the other 3 types of Supanas, the womb-born, moisture-born, and spontaneously born also are similar. Then 30.7, and the monk asked the Buddha again, Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas? And the Buddha said, Here monk, someone acts ambivalently in body, speech and mind. He has heard, egg-born Supanas are long-lived, beautiful and abound in happiness. He thinks, oh, with the breakup of the body death, may I be reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas. So he gives food, he gives drink, he gives clothing, he gives vehicles, he gives garlands, he gives fragrance, he gives unguents, he gives beds, he gives dwellings, he gives lamb, etc. Then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas. This monk is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas. So similarly, for the other 3 types of birth, they also are like this. They have done good and bad deeds, and because they did a lot of charity offerings, and because they aspired to be born in the as the Supanas, so they are reborn there. Sometimes we make an aspiration to be reborn somewhere, but if we don't have the good karma, then it cannot be fulfilled. Only if we have the good karma, that is the karma is the condition, and then only we can be reborn. Nagas and the Supanas, you see, their karma is good and bad.